Rather unexpectedly, on the last day of our recent Scottish trip, we visited this castle that it was just one of the most pleasant days we've ever had in Scotland. We were heading back to Aberdeen to catch our plane, and we happened to spend the night in Stonehaven, and that night we just had the most spectacular meal down by the pier. I got this amazing lamb stuffed with mint and apricots, and it was good.
Would you don't want to carry a throwing stone up from there?
The next morning, we decided to see what there was to see in the area, and so we went to Dunnottar Castle. So, here's a question. Is this little cave through here natural or man-made? I think it's man-made. So, to get to it, you gotta climb down and then climb back up again.
I think that's natural. Okay.
No, you don't think?
There's been a fort on the volcanic rock here overlooking the ocean, maybe going back before the year 400, when they say that St. Ninian converted some pits and built a chapel here. Okay, are those chamber potholes? They also say Donald II fought some Vikings here around 900, and it was an important center for William the Lion in the 1100s. The English had it for a while, and then William Wallace took it back and burned down the chapel around the English soldiers.
And that's where the highwayman takes your money.
Yeah.
Pretty well defended entry into here from this side. Everything here's just cool looking.
There's the ladies' toilet. Can we find the gents' toilet?
Okay, the ladies' room here was easy to find, but the men's room was way off in a corner.
Toilet, a refreshing view.
Dunnottar Castle became home to the Earls Marshal of Scotland, who oversaw all the ceremonial activities like the coronations and were responsible for the crown jewels and the honours of Scotland. After the English Revolution, where Oliver Cromwell's Roundheads beheaded the king, a lot of the Scots wanted to put his son on the throne, and the English were doing things like destroying the crown jewels. But they never got the Scottish crown jewels because they were hidden at Dunnottar, and they were later transferred to these lobster pots under the ocean, and a woman who pretended to be picking up seaweed collected them and took them to a nearby church. The king's papers were smuggled out too by some women under their skirts.
Window seats they have there. The Whigs prison?
No, they imprisoned 122 men and 45 women. They just shoved them in here. They didn't feed them or nothing.
The castle never really came back after Cromwell's cannons destroyed it. But in the late 17th century, it was ominously used as a prison, as some radical Presbyterians or Covenanters refused to accept the king as their overlord in religion.
Not there when the Whig prisoners were in here.
And they were arrested and imprisoned there in this thing called the Whigs' Vault, where they stuffed 167 people into this one crowded little cell. The last Earl Marshal was executed in the 1700s for his part in the Jacobite uprising, and Dunnottar Castle became one of those many places that the English sold to the York Building Company to carry off all of the stone.
He's travelling, but either way, all across borders on the highway.
Of course, everywhere I look around this place, I see Mel Gibson because they filmed the Hamlet that he starred in here.
Okay, so when Mel Gibson was here shooting Hamlet, they used to, I think, have scenes of him coming out that door right there. Two simple scene in this one yard.
Oh, but we just had the most delicious day there. The sun was bright and it was warm and the ocean breeze was glorious. And we looked at the views of the sea crashing on the rocks below us. And we sat on a nice bench behind a building to block some of the wind. And we had just the most lovely picnic. And it was just the most enchanting, romantic kind of day. So I just think this is just the coolest place.
Yeah.
It's a great place to just run around. So you got to go to Dunnottar.